The commercial break, DJ came in here and asked me, "Hey, Paul, how's your fantasy team doing?" Because I know he wanted to talk about how good his fantasy team is doing. DJ, you want to talk us about how good your fantasy teams are doing?
They're doing amazing.
No one cares. No one cares.
They're doing amazing.
Fine.
I've clinched playoffs in the majority of my leagues. I'm in 4 leagues, and I've clinched playoff spots in 3 of them.
Oh, wow. I mean, why am I even doing the show anymore? I mean, you got all the insight. You got all the answers.
I'm a good, GM, and I'm a good coach,
Good GM.
And a good coach.
I was a good coach in Madden,
Whatever.
I was in a 32-team league once, and guess what? Went to the Super Bowl with Terrell Pryor at quarterback.
When was this, like 2000 and what? Like
Madden 2014 or something
17?
like that.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, what were you, in your diapers back then?
I might as well have been.
All right, DJ, we were talking about this. There has been some discussion about it, and it might be mainly Texans fans coping with the fact that the Texans lost to the Jaguars on Sunday.
I think that's what it is.
I come away from Sunday's game. I thought that CJ Stroud played better than Trevor Lawrence. And he's laughing already. Why do you think Trevor Lawrence played better than CJ Stroud on Sunday?
Mainly because he gave you both. He gave you in structure and out of structure. He obviously, he did a lot, obviously CJ did way more off script stuff. But even then, that, you can't live off script. And that's why they have basically 7 points with about 10 minutes left in the fourth. They ended up scoring. No, I'm lying. They had 14 points until midway through the fourth, and they ended up scoring. But there's a reason why up until that point, they only had 2 touchdowns. Is because when you're going consistently off script, and it's not like there wasn't much open on the first iteration of the play. There were just times where CJ kind of got a little excited and wanted a big shot instead of taking what the defense was giving him and continue to keep the wheels moving, the chains moving, things of that nature, whether it's on second down, third down, whatever that looks like. Because, again, CJ's had a lot of success in terms of being able to push the ball down the field and create really explosive plays for a lot of points. The majority of the games post the Panthers game, and I think this was one of those games where you had to kind of take what the defense was giving you, kind of, attack by 1,000 paper cuts, and then now you go with the machete for the over the top. And that's what Trevor was doing consistently. That's why his offense moved with more consistency throughout the entire game. So that's why I would go with Trevor easily, mainly because he played easily. Yeah, he played, again, his team won. He played on script. He played off script. When it was time for him to play off script, he did that, kept his team moving. And again, they were scoring and moving the ball with ease the majority of the game. There were a lot of 4 and outs, 5 and outs with the Texans. Even on that 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, that back-to-back sequence, there was Devin Singletary open on angle routes back-to-back time, but CJ was trying to go for the big play, which is fine. He's young. He's still learning how to do both, right? How to go off script when it's required and stay, take what defense is giving you, go within the flow again. That's why D'Amico, after the game and yesterday, mentioned how we have to, get back to playing within the timing of the offense, within the timing of the play, playing on script, because you can't live off script.
Not a shot by D'Amico against CJ Stroud.
No, not a shot at all.
And DJ's not saying here either that Stroud stunk.
Lawrence
was great.
No,
he thinks Lawrence played better than CJ Stroud.
I think CJ was good, and I think Lawrence was great.
And there's a separate discussion we'll dive into after this. Here's why I thought Stroud was better, and it partly has to do with some of what you said. I think that Stroud was working with less in this game, in that the offensive line for the Texans got absolutely mauled by the Jaguars pass rush.
I disagree on that.
4 sacks. He was running for his life a lot.
There was a few plays where the sacks were on him.
There were 2 I thought that were on him.
Right. So one was on the screenplay at that point. You feel me? If it's not there, you got to throw in the dirt, because again, you have an offensive lineman down the field. So even if you were to throw it to a receiver or whatever like that, you're trying to create, that's going to be a legal man downfield. That's going to be a flag anyway. So throw it in the dirt. Don't even, you know what I'm saying? But that's a living lesson. He's going to live and learn. CJ, I think CJ's going to be a superstar quarterback. I think that's, you could book that. But then you had the other one where he tried to spin off of it, and then Josh Allen tackled him. But he was hot in that moment, and he had to throw it to Robert Woods. Because Robert, if you look at the play, Robert is flashing his hands, and I think CJ was trying to do the thing he did against the Dolphins, where he spun out of that one and then kind of created and found Noah Brown, but Noah Brown was able to corral the catch. So I think he was trying to do that in that moment.
When I was listening on the radio broadcast, I heard Andre Ware say a couple of times that there were some players that CJ Stroud missed, and he had a couple of passes deep down the field that he missed as well. And to what you're saying, sure, there definitely were some moments where Stroud probably should have taken what was there. But the plays that he did make, specifically extending plays and using his legs, I thought that was, from an aesthetics perspective, if we're comparing what Lawrence did versus what Stroud did, I thought it was far more impressive than what Lawrence did. And this isn't against Lawrence, but Lawrence was throwing largely to, I thought, open guys who were getting a ton of yards after the catch. By my count on the biggest plays, DJ, because I actually hand counted it because I couldn't find a website that had it. But he had at least 143 yards after the catch just on those big plays that happened. And
what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. But I felt like a lot of people that were saying Lawrence had the better day than Stroud, not you, were looking at the yardage that Lawrence had in this game. And they were pointing to that yardage as one of the reasons that he had the better day than Stroud.
Well, I mean, Yak is sometimes a product of the quarterback. If you throw the ball in the right spot,
no doubt,
and you hit your runner in stride, now he can completely run.
Two throws, he did a great job with that. The two big ones to Ridley, but there also were
the one to Christian Kirk at the end of that first half where he slid out of the pocket, drifting away, and threw it on an absolute.
That was the one
rope.
Down to the 1 yard line,
yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah,
that was my mistake. I thought they were both. I thought those were both.
Oh, okay, cool,
so
cool.
The screen that he threw that went to 42, and the other one that went to Farrell. To me, those were the result of defensive breakdowns, of which the Texans had many. And the other nitpick that I have with Lawrence as to why I thought Stroud played better, those two sequences that he had in the red zone, I thought there were a couple of throws that he made, Lawrence did, where I don't know what he was thinking. There was one play that got called back due to a pass interference, and I watched the replay last night trying to find out what the hell happened. CBS never showed an angle of it, but that play where Houston Carson could have intercepted the ball, I don't know what Lawrence was doing on that throw because it did seem like that receiver had him beat, and I don't know what's up with his footwork sometimes in the red zone, but there was another situation as well. That entire next red zone situation, I thought Lawrence made a lot of late throws and bad throws in those plays. Probably like 4 to 5. I think the one that I think maybe you could argue on was that little wheel route that he threw to Ingram down the right sideline. I think he could have placed that one a little bit better, but that's probably nitpicking. But I thought those two red zone situations, I thought like Lawrence almost lost the Jaguars potentially the game in those situations. Obviously, you know what? The ball rolls the way that it does. But there was also another play that he could have thrown that was almost intercepted by Derek Stingley. I thought Lawrence, while at the end of the game had a good game, I thought there were a couple of moments in this one where he was very fortunate ultimately. And I didn't really feel like, outside of maybe one pass that was a little bit high that Stroud threw that almost got intercepted on a tip ball, I felt like Stroud didn't make as many mistakes, especially coming off of a couple of weeks in a row where he's turned the ball over a lot.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you define as a mistake. If you're missing your read, you're missing your initial read and trying to create after you missed the initial read, is that not a mistake? I know we have this perception that if you take away somebody's first read, then you can, like, they become less of a quarterback, which, yeah, some guys do, but some guys can play in spite of that. But a lot of your first read is based off of what you're seeing pre-snap, post-snap, and you're getting the ball where this play is designed to do. So if you're not doing that, is that not also a mistake?
Fair point. I guess it's a sliding scale when it comes to mistakes.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, turning the ball over is way bigger mistake than
to Lawrence's
missing.
credit, he only turned it over once, and honestly, that should have been called back on a hold by Jalen Petrie.
Right. But for the agenda, we're going to be good with that because now Stingley has the most interceptions all first round picks in the 2022 class.
Sean is pumping his fist behind the glass. Yeah, that is so funny.
I know.
It is so funny.
And he's played the least amount of games all of them outside of Elam.
He's barely played this year, and he almost had another one. I mean,
yeah, I know though. Yeah, the one you were talking about. That one would have been like incredible.
It really would have been an incredible play. I can't dump on him too much, but man, I don't know how he didn't get even a hand.
Yeah, that
on
was
the ball.
crazy. Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, so that's why I think back to the original point. So that's the main reason why I think Trevor
Lawrence had a better
better
Sunday than Stroud.
Yeah, that's why I think he had a better Sunday. So
overall, would you agree that Stroud is more talented than Lawrence?
I don't know if he's more talented, but I would rather have CJ going forward long term because I think he has like that he has that killer instinct that flashes a lot more that, y'all boys hop. He has the quality of hop on my back, boys, and I'm going to carry y'all. I don't know necessarily. I think Trevor has the talent to do that, but I don't know if he can consistently do that to where I think CJ can. We're already seeing it we already seen in what, game 11. So that's kind of where I would lean towards Stroud long term, because I think that he has more of the y'all hop on my back, we're gonna make this happen no matter what. Where like only a few quarterbacks have, like Jalen Hurts has that, Mahomes has that, Lamar has that.
Maybe Russell Wilson has it now.
Well, old Russell Wilson did. Russell Wilson now
Definitely old one did.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of quarterback. I think you could put Burrow in there at times. So yeah, I would say like he's showing signs of that. So yeah.
He is DJ Bien-Aime, Houston Texans beat reporter for ESPN. DeMeco Ryans, head coach of the Houston Texans, had some interesting things to say at his press conference yesterday, and it had to do with calls in this game. Let's talk about those calls. Now that we're a couple of days removed, do you feel like the refs were out to get the Texans, as some said? And if not, do you feel like the refs were just flat out bad in this game?
No, I don't think they're out to get them. I don't really believe in blaming refs when you lose games.
I'm with you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like, those are a few plays within a game that are there moments where like the few calls can, completely tilt the game into the other team's a favor? Absolutely, but I don't think this is one of those games at all. I think, yes, like TT did get picked on a little bit with some of the calls, and like
Xavier Thomas.
Yeah, and then the Steven Nelson one, that was obviously a missed call.
Thomas looked like he was holding on that play. The Nelson hold.
Yeah, he did look like he was holding a little bit on that play, but they did say it was to Steve. So I mean, maybe they were trying to say Tavier, because both of them do have dreads, and then both so maybe they mismistake that. But even then, like, Tavier is dark skinned. Steven Nelson is basically like, he's not light skinned, but he's like brown skinned. So like there's and one where it's number 21, the one number 4. So I don't even know how they could get that mixed up, but yeah, like there's some bad calls. Yes.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Yes. This is gonna be the podcast title. NFL referees racist.
Yes.
Signed DJ Bien-Aime.
Yes. By DJ Bien-Aime. But I would, yeah. But again, like, that's not what lost them the game. I think what lost them the game was mainly that the fact that like they had very little consistency on offense. They weren't in rhythm a lot. Couldn't run. Had a bunch of drives that ended in 4 or 5 plays. Like, it's not sustainable. You know what I mean? To win.
And I was shocked by the lack of pressure at the end of the game that they had on Trevor Lawrence. I thought there was some 2 pressures at least listed per ESPN.com on Trevor Lawrence. That actually stunned me, especially in a game that Cam Robinson left with an injury.
Yeah, but I think it's because he was getting the ball out pretty quickly.
That's true. He does. I mean, to Lawrence's credit, his first read is generally a pretty good read.
Yeah, so if you're doing that, like, it doesn't. That's why Coach said yesterday, coverage and rush are tied together. If the coverage ain't sticky on the back end, it don't matter how good your D-line is. They're not going to be able to get to the quarterback consistently because the quarterback going to be able to get the ball out quickly.
Do you think refereeing in the NFL needs a fix of some sort right now?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it could do better for sure.
Have any ideas? I was thinking I don't challenge anything.
Nah, because that's going to slow down the game.
But if you can only get, as you already have before, say you have, 2 challenges, you get both those challenges, you get a 3rd challenge.
Yeah.
Honestly, you might speed it up. I mean, we might be able to get rid of some of the automatic review. I guess as maybe a trade-off on that from that side of things. I feel like right now, these refs, with all these people that watch these games on television, just have a really difficult job.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, we saw that Tank Dell catch on the sideline. I can understand why they didn't think that there was conclusive evidence that was a catch. But then all of a sudden afterwards, you see one of the sideline photographers with a high-powered camera taking a picture of that frame, and like he's clearly in bounds. Right. But these refs are kind of screwed.
Yeah, I think there's not an easy answer for sure, right? Because like your answer is, well, we kind of saw that a little bit with the pass interference ones, and like that just slowed down the game, and like most of the calls still didn't get overturned. So
they do to protect themselves a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I honestly don't know what's a good idea in terms of fixing the problem with refereeing, because it's such a hard job, because like guys are moving at like, insane speeds, is basically car crashes every single play, and you can throw a flag for everything, just like, what are you gonna throw the flag for? So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what the best counter is to some of the issues in terms of what's going on refereeing, because like, even like that Eagles-Bills game, like, shout out, Bills tears, so I'm happy that they lost. But, remember did you watch that game?
No, I didn't watch a second.
So there's an intentional grounding at the end of the first half. that they threw on Josh Allen, where he was getting tossed to the ground, he threw it away. But if you watch the play, the reason he was even getting sacked was because he was getting horse collared.
I saw the horse collar where his jersey got ripped.
Yeah, so but they still threw a flag for intentional grounding, but it's like, he intentionally grounded because he got horse collared, right? And there was a play where Darius Slay was basically mugging Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis, one of the two, and that didn't get called. There was another game I remember when the Eagles played the Dolphins where Tua throws it to Cedric Wilson, and Cedric Wilson gets his face mask yanked from James Badberry, or where Tua throws a pick in the end zone to Darius Slay, but in the midst of the play, Raheem Mostert is trying to catch the ball and he's getting contacted by the linebackers. So I think they could use some adjustments of some sort, because eventually there's going to be a call that's going to decide a very, very big game.
We've had that before, though, right? I mean, a couple of years ago, to what you were saying with the pass interference challenge ability, and it doesn't seem like we've really changed all that much.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what the fix is, because things happen so fast, and an instant replay doesn't. Because when you give it it has to be inconclusive, that kind of saves a lot of refs, right? Because it's all right, if it's 50-50, we're gonna go with the call that's on the field,
right?
Where sometimes the call on the field is still wrong, even though it's not conclusive, like the Tank Dell catch. It's clear that he got both feet in, right? And the replay might not have showed it perfectly, but maybe bring in more still shots, more photographer cameras that come in that you can see multiple still shots and things of that nature. But even then, I don't know, because that's just the backside that's showing Tank having both feet in, but it's just showing the front side. Because what if he has both feet, but the ball's not there yet, and it's about to get there? So and just those split second decisions and things of that nature. So I don't know. It's not an easy job. Glad I don't have it.
At the very least, I would like to have a different person on these broadcasts as the referee analyst, because these guys are so defensive of the refs, even when they clearly F up. Come on, be critical. Can we get a disgraced referee like the Tim Donaghy of the NFL to come in there? Someone who's bitter and hates everybody, who's just constantly saying they're wrong. Yeah. I'd love that.
Yeah, that'd be good TV. That'd be good TV. That'd be great TV, actually.
So, the Texans claimed former Eagles defensive end Derek Barnett on waivers. Does that mean all the J.J. Watt rumors are dead?
I don't even know how they get started.
Because we have hopes and dreams.
I don't know why. I don't know why people think that.
What, have hopes and dreams? Because life is worth living, DJ. That's why.
Yeah, you shouldn't have hopes and dreams. If your hopes and dreams are J.J. Watt coming back to the Texans,
yes!
You shouldn't dream. You know what? You can keep dreaming. Just keep on dreaming. Keep dreaming. Keep the eyes lid closed.
What's he doing?
Keep sleeping. Sleep away. Sleep your life away. And then maybe when you wake up in 40 years, when you don't have a job, you lost everything.
Oh, damn, dude.
Then maybe J.J. Watt came back.
How about we tell J.J. that family's overrated and that football's life? Huh?
Maybe. Yeah. I'll consider it. Next time I see him, I'll tell him that.
Yeah, you'll do that? Okay, great.
I'll be like, yeah.
That's all we need.
And then I'll say, Paul Gallant, my co-host, told me to tell you this.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. I went and visited my family for Thanksgiving. Overrated. I'm just kidding, Dad. I love you. You were just mean to me in the kitchen. I'm sorry.
Good. He should be mean to you.
He should be mean. Oh, come on. No,
he
will use this against me. How dare you?
Yeah, he should be mean to you in the kitchen.
The people were mean to Matt Amendola after he missed those 2 kicks. I feel bad for Matt Amendola. Those were 2 tough kicks. He's never hit a kick of over 50 yards in his career. The first one hit the crossbar. The second one hit the crossbar. The first one just slightly wide right. So they cut him. And I guess they brought in Brett Maher to work out. What are they going to do at kicker? Because I guess their hope is that they want to bring Amendola back to the practice squad.
Yeah, they want to bring Amendola back to the practice squad. I just don't know if you're gonna find a better option than Matt Amendola at this point. We're in week 13 now. It's December this week. It's November right now, 28th. We're going into week 13. There's no necessarily quote unquote good kicker that's available right now. Because if they were good, they'd be on the roster. Because kickers are we give them so much, not always we're hate, but they're so valuable because they can legitimately cost you games. So good kickers aren't just sitting around on their couch or on the field right now just kicking a soccer ball.
I got one. Lionel Messi.
Well, you're right.
How about that? You're right. Ronaldo, save him from Saudi Arabia. You can pay him more money than the Saudis. Come on.
Maybe.
I'm just kidding. The Texans actually don't have the cap space for that. They don't have the cap space for that.
But yeah, so it's hard to find a kicker that's good at this point. Especially. They would only be here for a couple weeks and then Kami would be back. So I think, just keep riding with Matt Amendola. And then to what D'Amico said, they're gonna keep, trotting Matt out there. So we'll see what that looks like. I think they cut him because they had to make space for Derek Barnett.
Okay.
Yeah. And Denzel Perryman came back on the active roster.
Let's go. Yeah, that's right. The NFL. You can't keep a good man down. He is DJ Bien-Aime. I am Paul Gallant. DJ, thanks for jumping in. Appreciate you on ESPN. Stop shaking your head. What? We flub our words from time to time. I do it more than most radio hosts. Check out his stuff at DJ Bien-Aime. DJ, always a pleasure, man. Have a good one.
Yep.